good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is a BoomBar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo and Adebayo, and welcome today. It promises to be a very interesting one. It is a public holiday in Nigeria. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to people that have public holidays. But anyway, it is the celebration of the end of Ramadan. So, all the best to everybody that has gone through the fasting. The honest truth is that fasting really does help everybody at the end of the day. The Lent is still going on, but it was really an interesting March this time around. Even if you don't do anything because of the fasting, it actually helps you physically as well. So it's a very, as much as it's a spiritual process, is also helps you physically. So I think it's a very interesting thing to celebrate at the end of, and so happy Eid al-Fitr to every Muslim out there. So also we're going to be on the bar today. There are quite a number of things today. We're probably going to start with a bit of sports. There are quite a number of interesting things we're going to be talking about in sports. A very sad one happened in boxing in Nigeria. We're going to be talking about that. Also, River State drama that happened over the weekend up until today. We definitely will break a bit of that down. Nigerians have not been very good children when it comes to TikTok, as TikTok had announced millions and millions of videos that have had to pull down in the Nigerian space just alone, and especially with the way a lot of the social media apps are getting cracked down and all that, you honestly would not blame them. So today's actually promises to be a very interesting one. As you know, today is a public holiday, so a lot of people, or when I say in Nigeria, don't let me misconstrue it, a lot of people in Nigeria are going to be sitting down, but so we hope to make that holiday a very interesting one for you at the bar today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. My name is Dolupo, like I said earlier, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the bar.
Okay, so like I said, we're going straight into it, and we're starting from sports actually today. It's a bar, we can start anywhere, But today we're not going to start on a very interesting note. We're actually starting on a little bit of a sad note today, as a Nigerian boxer. In fact, the video is all over social media in case you have bumped into it. If you haven't, it's not a very great video to look through, so I'm not even going to say people should go and look for it. It's not a very great video to look for, but the sad truth is that there was a Nigerian boxer. Anyway, there's a Nigerian boxer that collapsed during a boxing match over the weekend. He slumped and he was pronounced dead right there in he was pronounced when he got to the hospital. And like I said, it was not a great video. And when I first saw this video, I was like, this is not the first time. I think about a month ago there was an announcement. This had nothing to do with Africa actually, about another young talent. I can't remember what country it was that also died after a boxing match. We're seeing the kind of injuries. And I'm like, at this point in time, are we not going to get to a point where boxing might be actually cancelled? Like, it's such a very it can be a very intensive one, and at times some of these their injuries can be very fatal and all that. So I just, that was what I was just looking at, and then what could be done, only for news to break this morning that he was not even cleared for the fight. So SR, I need you to please help us break down a little bit. What does it mean that he wasn't cleared for the fight? Are we now saying that it's his fault that he went to do that?
Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff that's involved when you get involved in professional boxing. Even beyond professional boxing, in sports, there are certain things, especially when it is professional. For instance, there is a preparation period for you as an athlete that you must observe to get in shape and to get ready. again, if you notice that in football, for instance, at the start of every season, now footballers go through medicals.
Yeah.
When a player is about to sign a new deal in another club, it goes through medicals.
Yeah.
It was during that situation that Kanu's heart condition was discovered. You know, imagine if they didn't do that test for him. We don't know what would have happened to a great player like Nnamdi Kanu, and we still have him with us today, and he's still very active. You know, even if he's not playing football, he's still very active doing his charity and a whole lot of stuff. So medicals go side by side, and that's why in amateur boxing, you know, they usually wear the headgear and the other protective gear to protect vital parts of their body. The truth is, boxing is a tough sport. I don't know, but it's one of my favorite sports, but it's a tough sport. It is said that the boxer Segun Success was not prepared for this fight at all. According to people who worked with him and all of that, he wasn't prepared for this fight. He wasn't supposed to even go for the fight in the first place, but he got his clearance, he pressed for it, he got it, and he went. Then missed the weight, and the fight that he went for was actually on Friday. This is according to, you know, the people in the boxing board of control. And they were actually on their way out of Ghana when he spoke to the person that was traveling with him, and he said, you know what, because he wasn't the only Nigerian that actually fought there. And he spoke to the person and said, according to them, he said to them that, look, he can't go back to Nigeria empty-handed. Maybe this deal that they offered him is not great, but he has to go back to take it. And he called them, and they're like, okay, look, there's another fight on Saturday, the next day. And that's what he went for, and that's the fight that led to his demise. Watching that fight, a whole lot of things will come through your mind. Just maybe if he had maybe done some proper medicals, maybe he wouldn't have fought at all in the first place.
Yeah.
And speaking about medicals, I looked at the response. I'm sorry, it's not because it happened in Ghana, it can happen anywhere in the world, but this has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with politics or tribe or whatever. But I feel that they could have done better with their first aid and their response.
So I think the Nigerian Boxing Federation was also seems in their statement, a bit of the statement here and there seems to also be indicting the Ghanaian Boxing Federation, that there are a few things that they should have done, like you said, some medicals before the fight happened, and that maybe a bit of first aid could have also helped quickly. So
I strongly feel that they could have done better. I've worked on at least one or two boxing events, and you look around you, the things that are happening behind the scene, the ambulance that is on standby. It's not just an ambulance, it's an ALS, which is like an advanced ambulance on standby, you know, with doctors, nurses, and physiotherapists, just in case there's a need to evacuate someone from that site if they cannot handle it on site. And I'm not sure they had all of that. I didn't see behind the scene there, but the response I saw in that ring, and it looked like he went into some kind of fit, and the next thing, you just knew that there was something really bad happening to Segun. I feel very bad that a lot of things were not in place, but we can blame people as much as we want. We'll come back and blame this and blame that. But again, we must also ensure that standards are met and kept. And these are the things that happen every time you look the other way or allow someone. For instance, even the people that he was telling that he wanted to go and fight should have actually insisted,
that he shouldn't have.
But yeah, you know how it is with men now, very headstrong.
Also, I was also wanted to go ask, like, okay, so I checked and it's about 40. At 40, it's a fine time to still box, yeah?
Yeah, there are people who box into their 50s self, and Bashali, who claims to be very, very old. You know, I know he's old, but probably not as old as he says he is, but he's very old. And he's still trying to be active and all of that. You get, so again, it's your medical that matters. It's the condition of your body, not your age. It has nothing to do with that at all. That's why at times not at times, when you see fights, you see age disparities, but it doesn't matter at all. You just saw the Logan Paul and is it Logan Paul, Jake Paul and Michael Tyson fight.
Tyson, yeah.
And you also how it went down. Tyson is old enough to be the guy's father. You know, he's 20 something and Tyson is 50 something and all of that. And they fought. Do you understand? And of course, Tyson also had some medical issues before that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that we're talking about. Because without a license, you can't fight. And your license will not be given to you until you tick all the boxes. You know. So in this particular case, in trying to create business for yourself as a promoter, you must not cut corners. You must not allow any boxer that is not certified fit to get into the ring. Now, people who are certified fit have also maybe died in the ring or come across
maybe
some kind
a very
that's
funny,
happened. You get
a very funny
but
punch
in his own case,
in a very
it's
funny
so
way
glaring that
there was
he was not fit.
Very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting matter. But you know, it's just a sad thing. I will still say that I think that boxing is a very, very dangerous venture. Like you said, that there people that have feet, but then a punch hits you in a funny artery and then the artery bursts or hits you in a funny place and it's your nerve or hits your nerve. Do you understand? And then we're seeing how people have become vegetables overnight because of boxing. People have died. Like I said, I remember there's a story, I think it was the news last month. I'm not sure exactly, but there was another boxer, I can't remember what country it was, that also died. Very young boxer, I think in his 20s actually, that also died in the ring. So it's just a very, it's almost like injuries that come from boxing is. So basically the least that anybody can do is make sure that the person is fit. So we'll see what is going to come out of this. Or do you think anything is going to come out of it, or we're just going to move on from it like that?
Again, now if there was insurance in place, maybe his family will get some kind of compensation, and maybe out of the goodness of the promoter's heart, they would look into, you know, some kind of, because he's gone, you know, and there's nothing they can do to bring him back. But again, he was more or less the breadwinner for his family, and in situations like this, you hope and wish that there was some kind of arrangements in place for proper insurance and maybe even some goodwill. Now I don't know, maybe the Boxing Federation will board of control will look for how to maybe raise funds for him, or speak to the sports commission if they have such funds, or maybe on a personal level people can come together. But he is gone, but if they can look at his family and help them, because you know it's touching when you hear about a man that was on his way back to Nigeria, and he turns back
Only
at the
if.
border to say, you know
Only
what,
if.
I need to take money home. I cannot go back empty-handed, and that's led to, you know,
His demise. Such a very sad one. But on a very good note, for something that I'm not sure we have seen in a very, very long time, Novak Djokovic being defeated at a final.
Oh well, it's
a
sign of the times,
and it's
now.
a 19-year-old boy.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times. It's an interesting situation. One of the big things that's happened to Mexico, what's his name now, is
Jakub
that
Mensik, yeah,
meant that he moves up 30 places. That's huge. You get, that's huge. He moves up 30 places. I think he moves to number 24 now. But the fact that he could make it to the finals of a top ATP
it's fantastic.
game shows how good he is.
Yeah.
And the people he had to battle,
Yeah.
and again playing against his own mentor and someone that he looked up to.
Yeah, and
you know,
defeated
and he beat him.
Stopped him from getting his 100th career title.
Yeah, the beauty of it is Novak's own reaction. Djokovic was magnanimous in defeat. He didn't throw a tantrum or lose. He actually went and hugged him, and you know, he had a few words to say. You know, so we've been looking at Cena and one or two other people coming up through the ranks
But
now.
this
But
boy,
we need to start taking a look at Mensik and say, okay, this guy is also on the
and
list
he's really young, so he
And
still has a long time.
Just
to
winning the Miami Open alone now doubled his earnings.
yeah.
He's earned over $1 million now, and collectively before he hadn't gotten anything like that, from one single event. So now he's a guy that all eyes will be on. I hope he's not a flash in the pan. I hope that he joins the fray and that we now have more options. But I'm just so happy for the way it panned out for him.
Yeah. So
Against such an iconic player.
Iconic, that's the word. Iconic
Novak
is the word.
Djokovic.
So before we leave that matter, does it look like we're looking at another retirement soon?
Djokovic is not going anywhere. At least not after this Miami Open. He still has the game in him. For him to have gotten to the final of the top ATP ranking,
it's not.
It shows that he has it in him.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll still.
Yeah, career ends at some point, but not now. Maybe not this season. The way I see it.
Maybe not this season. Okay. So we'll see what happens with that. And then before we leave sports, Team Lagos wins the maiden edition of the Southwest Games. They hosted it anyway.
The Southwest Youth Games. Let's put emphasis on youth so that when they finally get back to doing a proper Dawn Games or Southwest Games, we'll be able to differentiate. They had about 7 or 8 sports. I know they had archery, which stood out for me, table tennis, of course, usually there'll be football and all of that. And Lagos, yeah, good results for them. Austin to win. They did well. I saw the opening ceremony. You had some pomp and pageantry. I saw that Trust Ekong even breezed in on his way from Uyo, and then there were a few other people there to add color to the event. But again, the beauty of it is the young kids that they brought together from different parts of the Southwest. As we speak, the Niger Delta Games is about to start, and these are the things that we've been clamoring for in sports. If you create more competitive, tournaments and events for athletes, they'll get to hone their skills, they'll get to learn and make mistakes early and learn and get better, so that at the next international tournament, you don't go there hoping for medals and end up just being disappointed.
Oh my God!
Because it becomes really hard as a nation when you watch the entire Olympics and your country cannot even get on the podium. You can't even get a bronze medal. It's disheartening.
It is disheartening, actually. It is.
But my word of advice for them is that they should look beyond just organizing these tournaments and actually lay more emphasis on training, lay more emphasis on skills acquisition for them beyond just competing. Competing is very good for them, but you also need to help them and train them. I think the Table Tennis Federation is doing something similar to what the para-swimming event that happened with Bose Kafu 2 weeks ago in Lagos. Now the Table Tennis Federation is doing something similar at the National Stadium, and there's going to be about 4 days of training. They're training under 12 players, and I think under 14 or something, and these are the things that we're talking about.
Yeah,
we need more of that, scientific approach to sports
development. Okay, so that seems like it's a good thing, and it's something in the right direction. Now let's move on from that, and since we're on this matter, maybe we should even do a bit of entertainment. Just wanted to put the one out there. TikTok has announced that they removed 2.4 million videos from Nigerian TikTok, basically in Q4 of 2024.
We had this discussion a few months ago.
Yeah, where they removed millions as well in another quarter. And I'm like, what nonsense do you people post?
So, what you need to realize, though, is that TikTok, especially Nigerian TikTok, is a different world entirely.
I heard so.
It's a different world. If you ever thought that Twitter was crazy, Facebook is this and that. TikTok is like a mishmash of all the things that are crazy into one place. Now, the beauty of TikTok is that it has the ability to go viral fast. I don't know how and I don't know why. And that's why you find politicians like El Rufai, Peter Obi, going there. You find Donald Trump going there, because you would have thought, with all his anti-this stance and America first thing, that he wouldn't want. When TikTok was going to be banned in America, weren't you surprised that Donald Trump stood for them and was saying no, blah, blah, blah? That's how powerful TikTok has become. And, there's always the good, the bad, and the ugly in such, situations. And that's what TikTok is. Currently, there's a copper lady that said she was organizing a 30-day rant thing, and people took it up and said they are ranting against the Nigerian government and everything that they don't like. Funny thing is, it's actually crazier on TikTok than on Twitter or any other place. And that's one of the things that you start to look at from protesting online. People have now also migrated to the negative side of things, which is the fake news. There's talk of Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, being dead. They are saying he's dead. They said he collapsed. The guy that posted it on Twitter has not deleted it. He has a picture of some people running. It looks like somewhere in the assembly, National Assembly, maybe like the front office there, but it looks like it, but it's blurred. And he has left that picture. He's left the post there, and people have picked it up and taken it a step higher. He claims that Wike was shipped to France. It was flown to France for treatment, and that it might not work again, and blah blah blah. Well, that they had to do with the alcohol intake and blah blah blah. Where I'm going with this is that everybody on TikTok seems to have taken it hook, line, and sinker, and they've taken it to the next level. So they are now making videos. At least I've seen about 2 of people actually swearing with everything they have that the man is gone, the man is dead. So when he appeared yesterday in Abuja for the customary visit from the FCT to the president, they zoomed in and said that the card that he took there,
him now. Oh God!
That the card that he took there was made in 2023. That it's obvious that it's an old video. They're actually asking Grok and Perplexity on Twitter to confirm.
In 2023, the president was not president.
No, in 2023, Wike was still a governor.
That's what I'm saying. Tinubu was not a president
and
yet.
Wike was still a governor. So there's no business of him taking a card to Shetima and Tinubu, because Shetima was still a senator.
Oh God. See, okay, let me gather my thoughts.
And that's all happening majorly on TikTok. And
I'm not saying that you shouldn't say whatever it is you want to say, yeah. But I think that there's a limit to. Don't let me say stupidity.
You already did.
there's a limit to people's. It's not ignorance, because at this point it's definitely not ignorance. It's okay not to like someone. Literally, like, trust me, I'm the king of it. I don't like you. I don't like a lot of people. I'll not even lie. I don't. It's okay not to like people. But to not carry stories that you have no evidence of, and then when you now see evidence, you now cook up silly, unrealistic stories about. Oh my God. I think that it's completely unnecessary. I think that you're watering down the whole essence of whatever it is that you do. Nobody would ever take you seriously. And was it yesterday? I was watching. This is just a movie though, but I'm sure these things happen these days, where this model girl, she's been in school, high school, very good grades and all that. Apparently, there was one time she had joined a protest. Her mom had told her not to, but she, when people feel strongly about some things, which she did, and she joined the protest. In between, she got arrested. Obviously, it was on her record. And she was going into college, and the only reason she was denied was because she had been arrested before. And this was where her grandmom was like, actions have consequences. You might think that yes, it's for a good cause, but they have consequences. You can't just open your mouth and just say that I don't know.
I totally disagree with you on this matter of protest or not protest, because we cannot live in a country or in a world where we all...
No, I'm not zeroing in on protest. I'm just talking about the fact that your actions, maybe we should all think of our actions critically before we do them. Because, for example, now I want to employ you, and I see that you are the carrier of fake news, and you want to work in a radio or a media house. You cannot work. It just cannot work. That alone, or is not even a red flag. It's a major black flag. Do you understand? So I'm like, what are the things that we do? Do we even think of these things at all?
Well, still, I just want to correct the notion. I know you said you didn't zero in on it, but people have a right to protest. Just do it within the confines and the ambit of the law. Do not break any law in your bid to dissent. Because at times it is in criticism that people get better. It is in criticism that people learn and say, okay, these people, why are they complaining? Oh, okay, we could have done it differently. All right, okay, let me see. Let's look at it. You get, so we get that done. But the issue with all these TikTok bans and stuff is that not only the fact that it's fake news and all the lies that are being told on social media, there's some videos now that make their way from TikTok to other platforms, where some popular TikTok people are actually asking people to perform some dirty acts live. They go live. Oh, I'm going live with this person. It's actually a big deal now. People will tell you, they're going live, and now that TikTok is monetized, it's been monetized for a while anyway. People actually tell you that I'm a TikToker. They say, what do you do? You say, I'm a TikToker. That's what people say now. Because they actually make money.
A lot of money from it.
TikToking.
Yeah, people do.
And to the point where people are threatening themselves. Some allegations about a guy that got shot a few months ago, they're saying it had to do with some TikTok issues and all of that.
TikTok?
So you have to be very careful. A few days ago, another TikToker had asked people to go and unfollow Pella. Pella is Nigeria's biggest TikTok person, and as of last week, I think he had 9.6 or 9.7 million followers. I think it's 19 or 20 or so. And you find A-list artists try to be his friend and go live with him, and they pay some huge chunk of money to go live with this guy. And some guy now says that because he has refused to join the 30-day rant, that people should go unfollow the guy. You should go unfollow Pella. And while they're saying unfollow Pella, Pella's people now started protecting him and saying, no, leave him alone. It's not compulsory for him to join any protest. The guy said, you're going to do all these protests and get TikTok banned in Nigeria, and that's where we feed from. Please take your protest to the streets. If you want to go to the street, let's go. Leave social media. And they said he wasn't supporting the 30-day rant, and before you know it, the threats to people's lives and livelihood. This is happening on TikTok too. So amongst all of these things, if you just see the headline, you hear TikTok bans videos, you may be like, oh, bans millions. You're like, what's that? But I'm telling you that it has grave repercussions and all of that. What about the guy that's always telling girls, he uses there's this thing that mutates their face or makes their face look funny. He uses that to cover his own face, but he's always telling those girls, move back and do this and do things that you shouldn't be asking women to do. at least on social media, and he asked them to do it because they are hoping that they'll get gifts, because people who are watching now gift them, all these likes and stuff now amount to something. People buy lions and give you gifts and stuff. Those are the gifts that you can actually monetize from TikTok.
I'm okay not being on TikTok at this point. Every single day.
Everybody's going there now.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I had a TikTok, but I think I signed out like 2 years ago.
You're going back.
Yeah, I used it for a few months because, you need to get on. Me being a media person, I had to get on there and everything. But I just started seeing some things and I'm like, you know what?
I'll pass.
Yeah. I saw one of my friends just got on it and is making videos and dancing. There's this Yoruba actor. I think he's moved to the US. The bulk of what he does now is just to dance on TikTok, and he does that every day.
Every day. There's just songs, all those Nigerian songs that he's dancing to and vibing to, and he might not have been active as an actor in the last 1 or 2 years, but being on TikTok is actually helping him. So you get it. The other day, I think it was Ira Star's mom who was saying, look, let your parents get on TikTok. At times people could get lonely and they could get depressed and everything, but if they're on TikTok, they have people to chat with and talk to and everything, And he now said that even in America, like, there's this massive wave of people on TikTok. You want a song to really blow up, if it blows on TikTok, it will go. CK's song. Yeah, I think it was a TikTok thing. That
there are other songs too that have had serotonin song. There are a couple of songs like that. That when they blow, you just go and check the trace, and it's like, oh, okay.
It was TikTok.
So people are on TikTok. It's the way you use it. I keep saying it that nothing is all bad on social media. It's the way you use it.
The way you use it. Okay, now let's move on from that. Still talking about Nigeria, since we're on Nigeria. Let's do a bit of politics. And what I wanted to talk about was the drama that has happened over the weekend in Rivers State. And I think this drama started, would I say Friday? Of course, everybody knows there's been drama in Rivers State for years now. We don't even say months anymore. Years. It's almost 2 years of a lot of back and forth. And I think it climaxed.
It's still months, though. It's not up to 2 years, so you can't say years. Until it's May 29 or June.
Okay.
So
it's months, Sabi. About 15, 16 months, Sabi. We're good. Okay. So, I think that the whole thing climaxed when the president suspended everybody suspendable. He told everybody, go for 6 months. I don't want to see y'all. Go arrest. As it's the full definition of when they say rest. That's the proper definition of rest. Apparently, they have not rested. As there's now been allegations here and there, I think it started from when the head of service resigned. I think he resigned on Thursday or Friday. Next thing we hear, he put out a video saying that the suspended governor, and
he's still the governor. No need to put suspended.
But is he the governor?
Do they have a governor?
They have a sole administrator?
Exactly. So he's still the governor.
Is that the governor at the moment?
He's still the governor.
Okay. Is he?
He's not functioning as governor at the moment.
Is he government house?
But is he not the governor of Rivers State?
Governor.
Has he been removed?
Okay. Anyway.
So when someone gets suspended, the person is no longer in the position that they were.
That's why I said that
Natasha is not a senator anymore.
That's why I said the suspended. Is she not? She's a suspended senator.
Is she a senator?
She's a suspended senator.
Is she a senator?
Suspended senator.
Okay, you've answered now. Suspended senator. You put senator there, so
no, I'm not. As
long as you put senator there,
like I said, I started with.
So let's move on.
He's
the governor. Is the governor of
the suspended governor of Rivers State had been accused alongside his chief of staff, Edison Ehie, who used to be the factional speaker at some point, that he and the governor planned the attack on the House of Assembly, the blowing up literally of the House of Assembly, and the man had come out and he had said that he has evidence. We saw the drama with his wife, and the drama with the governor, and his phone call with all the media houses present to the wife of the former head of service. And then we saw the head of service himself, the former head of service, come out to say that he was not kidnapped and how he's in a particular place and all that. And then we see this morning Edison Ehie come out to say that he has nothing to do with, I think this was last night, he has nothing to do with it, that he was going to sue this particular person. And that also he has now made another allegation saying that he has proof that he was offered a 5 billion naira bribe to impeach similarly Fubara.
River State, house of commotion, house of the drama. I've been begging them here, and they form. I keep saying it. The people of Rivers are the ones that are losing out because politics has taken over governance. This is a period where there should be governance.
But at this point now, everybody is doing their politics. At least they're not involved in the governance at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Even when they were involved, they were still politicking. And that's why they were going to court and fighting themselves. The person who has raised this, Mr. Uwenke or something, I hope I've got his name right.
Yeah.
Claims that he was there and he has proof. And he says he has proof that he's not going to release yet, that he wants to give it to the military or the security forces that would handle it better. And the timeline goes further back to when he resigned. He said he was not sacked, that he resigned, and that he's told his wife that he was going to get to Abuja for a meeting. Then the wife goes off. That was on Friday night, and suddenly he's on Channels TV. He's having some kind of mini press conference or dropping some exclusive on there. And as soon as the video dropped of the governor talking to his wife and everything, a lot of this was happening around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Friday into Saturday morning. The man made another video Saturday morning and he said he was at the Transcorp and he was in the lobby and like it's fine. It was not big, like you talked about. But while all of this was going on, he was mentioning names, and that's the part that gets me, because when someone is making allegations and claims they have proof and they are mentioning names, it's no longer a joke. Yeah. It's no longer if or maybe. It's something that has to be handled. And I'm actually afraid at the possible outcome. It's gone further to also implicate the current governor of Rivers State, saying that he has proof of certain transactions that will make people weep. You know, just paraphrasing. It's not alleged. He's saying it. And when he mentioned Edison Ehie, the former factional leader of the house, when they had 3 members, he also mentioned someone who was the chairman of a local government, who is one of their most vociferous and most powerful supporters of Sir Similalaya Fubara. This person was actually in a video, because you now go back and I said this was the same guy that led people when they were shaking the gate of the house. They were going to bring down the fence, he was there, and they were shouting and said they were going to do this, and he actually correlates with what the man said. Now, this local government guy now starts tweeting since Friday, and it's like nobody can arrest him, that they have to go and vacate the order, that he has an injunction, that he can't be arrested, and blah, 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 blah. So there are multiple layers to what's going on in Rivers State as we speak. And the whole idea of a state of emergency, I thought that by now they'll be doing some kind of political solutions. I don't know how they are. I don't even know how they're going to come back from this anymore. As at the time the president made that pronouncement, as much as I said I didn't want them to remove Fubara, from the look of things, I was hoping
it was probably needed.
I was hoping that as in now that it's been removed, that it would use this opportunity to say, you know what, look, boss, you brought me for a reason. Let me finish my tenure. You know, I think Mr. Fubara, His Excellency, I think he has very bad because again,
Advisors.
yeah, I can't wrap my head over how over and over again you keep saying, who is this guy? Nobody knew him. We just knew that he was working with the government, but he wasn't one of the shining lights of PDP in Rivers State as at that time. And you became a governor. Again, when you became governor, notice that the bulk of the people surrounding you were weakest people. But you still took it. And how were you expecting to turn it around in a matter of months?
Months, yeah.
It's hard.
It's a matter of months. And then my own is the drama that we see these days. That's the one that amazes me. Take, for example, okay, if the phone call to that woman was spontaneous, why do you have TV stations around?
Okay, so that can be explained. You could be like, based on the media briefing that the husband had or the exclusive interview that he had with channels, the other people have a right of reply.
Yeah.
And it could be based on that. They're like, oh, you know what? I can't do this without the same platform and other platforms now helping me carry my message because I need to quickly issue a rejoinder. I need to respond. So you can explain that. You can explain that. If I was involved, I would explain it. Of course, we saw what the man said and we had to respond immediately. And that's why we called the media.
The phone call to his wife.
Yes, we have to call the media. It has to be captured. Because some of these things are tendered in court, you know.
I agree with you with that. However, I think that at this point, anybody that actually feels that the state of emergency in River State is not needed needs to be checked out. And why I said so is because we still, even after everybody, because even all the Edison Ehie of this world, everybody is at home now. Yeah. All the governors' aides, everybody is at home. Nobody is doing nothing, or at least not working with the government. Like you had said, you would have thought that this is a time that everybody will not be bridging. Okay, where do we come from? But it looks like the issue in River State keeps deteriorating. The only saving grace now is that these people that are all fighting together are not affecting the governance of the state at the moment.
All I see is ego.
So there's still so much drama,
and pride.
There's still so much drama that I'm like, and then still talking about Rivers, the drama that looks like the drama is moving all the way to Bayelsa. You saw the Bayelsa governor's proclamation that nobody should bring the FCT minister should. And my question is, yes, Rivers is not Bayelsa, and Rivers is not Bayelsa is not the FCT. Yeah, I'm not sure that there is a law in Nigeria that bars anybody from going to anywhere.
There are already flyers circulating. If they want to go ahead with that thing, you think they won't?
So in my head, I'm like, can you actually stop him from coming?
Well, you know me, I can look at things from two sides. If I'm the governor, I'm going to hinge solely on security concerns. I wouldn't have come out the way he did.
I think it was very...
He made it look like, you can't fight me, I'm in charge. No.
Oh, the Bayelsa governor is said to be the one housing the suspended Rivers governor.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's housing him because, of course, over the weekend, there were a lot of quotes of him being in Port Harcourt in his own apartment also. So maybe he had moved there for a day or two, who knows, and he came back, or maybe he just went for a meeting and all of that. But, we have... the thing that is happening is that we have turned it into a tribal war. We have this tendency in Nigeria to always add different colors to it. So it's becoming an Ijaw versus them war. And that's what's happening. Seeing that Fubara and Governor Diri, are brothers, in quote. And I'm hoping that this is actually a time where they should actually sit down and find a political solution. People always cast aspersions on the system in Lagos, but look at something that was like a potential keg of gunpowder and how they just doused that thing.
I agree with you, but we'll see the drama that will ensue from this matter. as much as my only advice is that we think that 6 months is a long time, 6 months is not as long as you see. And the truth is, if they don't sort themselves out, I will not be surprised if this state of emergency is going to extend.
There's a law that says it can extend for another 6 months.
So if they don't sort it out and sort it out fast, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, the PDP is said to also have lost the assistant women leader in Cross River South, as she's now resigned from our office, or more like resigned from party completely.
Yeah, she's followed someone who resigned recently from the party in the same Cross River. I think he was a former deputy governorship candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, if you understand politics in Nigeria, when these moves start to happen, at times you're like, is it going to be a wave? Because it doesn't look like a one-off thing. When two prominent members of a particular party pull out back to back like that, you start to think that, okay, where are they going? And why is this too much of a coincidence? It is not just happenstance. It is something that is usually planned and structured along that line. So again, it's looking like the PDP is losing more and more people, and we don't know how they intend to do it. Nice awards. Is that the Billboard Awards?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry. So.
Oh God. Anyway, interesting news. I'm still talking about politics. Is remember we had talked about I think when a few people have moved to SDP, and you had talked about the presidential candidate losing his seat. However, he has now come to say that he could actually sacrifice his seat, that he's ready to sacrifice his seat for a better candidate.
He doesn't have a seat. You see, it's funny how, it's funny. I'm going to say it. It's funny.
Okay.
When you became the presidential candidate of the party, it was for a period of time, and that time has gone. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, so you contested the primaries and won, and you became the flag bearer. Does that make you the life presidential flag bearer? Even the other uncle that is always coming out has to contest primaries every 4 years. Even if he loses, he still contests. So how does he say he's willing to? He's making it look like he's a shadow president, and it doesn't exist. We're not running the British system here.
So you're not even part.
It's not even yours. Yes, you are a prominent member of the party, but you do not own the right of first refusal.
I think it does.
It doesn't.
Because he was holding on to the party before all these people came. There was something that someone like an El Rufai probably, and I sorry, but I think that in El Rufai's case, I don't think that works, because someone like in El Rufai's case, I probably felt that he was too ashamed to go back to the PDP, and he was looking for somewhere else, maybe other than the Labour Party, because of course Peter Obi has taken over the Labour Party, that he needed to go. But there was something that he had projected for someone like an El Rufai to think that SDP is where he wants to go. So I don't think that.
Dolupo, you have only said things that are not backed by any law or any constitution or anything anywhere. I want you to dwell on that thing you said again. That because someone was a presidential candidate 2 years ago, he owns the presidency of the party.
I'm not saying he owns the presidency of the party.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying that he probably...
probably. Now you're putting probably. We're getting somewhere. Okay. Move. Yeah, keep moving. You're getting closer
so at
home.
least he owns like the right of first refusal.
Probably, at least.
Yeah, because
Dolupo, in politics,
he was doing...
Dolupo, in politics. Are you serious right now, or are you just saying this for bants?
No.
So, okay. Apart from Showore's party that he owns, lock, stock, and barrel, tell me of any party in this country that one person, look, are you playing? There are people who have sustained parties for years and they still didn't give them the presidential flag on the platter.
Shout out to Wiki.
Well, good luck to you. I'm just saying. So what do you get off saying because someone was a presidential candidate?
I'm just saying that.
Look.
The only thing is that the only thing I saw with this was...
You see, let me tell you, I told you what was going to happen. and this is him shifting ground. I already said this weeks ago. There is no law. There's freedom of association. As it stands now, and I've said this before, even before we got to this stage, before Nigeria started being, boxed into a corner. I said before, I'm going to say it again. If you have a political structure, you can take over any party. If National verified that you people are joking now, if he really brings out his structure now and he moves about 100,000 people, just 100,000 people into the SDP, he will take over. I'm not sure this person that said his presidential candidate has 100,000 people.
The only
they will
thing
take
for
over
me,
from word to word, from state to state.
The only thing for me
is it the first time?
Sir, you're not. I think there's a tinge of, I don't want to call it arrogance. There's a tinge. You're not even the first, second, or third in the grand scheme of things when it came to elections last election cycle. So it's not like as if your presidential candidacy was that great or it did anything to Nigerian politics. That's it for me.
You're talking about how someone has sustained a party. Let's even assume it's the one that's financing this party. Congratulations. Someone now comes into that party with 1 million supporters. Please tell me who is in charge. Tell me who you will gladly.
Why do we forget the work that other people had already done?
What has that work gotten you? The work that you have done. When push comes to shove, when it gets to brass tacks now, that work that you have done, what has it gotten your party? You are there. It's not about being mean. It's about being honest, factual, and real. You are there as a leader of your party. The entire numbers in your party, I can move in and more than quadruple it, and you still expect me to bow to you? Is that a joke?
Anyway, we'll see where the drama in SDP is going. I think that it looks like there might be a fight, or more like maybe the man has seen the handwriting on the wall and
he has shifted ground. Last week in Ogun State, when they had their meeting, they were saying nobody can come to this party and checking it. Now they are saying you are willing to step down.
It could be money matters.
I don't care whatever it is. I'm just saying that you have shifted ground. So please don't ever put your neck on the line for such people or anybody again.
Anyway, let's go all the way to Edo State. Sadly, something happened a few days ago in Edo State where literally lynchings of travelers at Uromi in Esa Northeast local government part of the state. However, the governor has today now suspended the commander of the Edo State Security Corps, Friday Ibadan. Sadly, most of these people were actually from the north and were set ablaze by an angry mob after a local vigilante group allegedly found firearms in the possession while traveling in a Dangote cement truck.
So, it's been a lot of back and forth. The first thing that actually bothers me is something I saw somewhere where someone was saying, how did we move from talking about people being apprehended with guns and jungle justice to a religious war? We're on the verge of a religious war in Edo State. Mm-hmm. It's now a Muslim versus Christian thing. Is that what we're trying to turn it into? It's now when someone else was killed in the north, what did you people do? Now you're shouting about this one and that one. Let us have one standard. Let us understand what the laws of Nigeria says. And if we do that, we'll be in a better place. First things first, I condemn, this mass murder. It's jungle justice.
How do people sleep at night? Like, how is it okay to just...
Then you make a video of these things and post them on social media again.
How is it okay to just kill people?
The funny thing is, there's a lot of shout about insecurity in Ondo State now. That, in fact, there was a protest there last week. And people are saying that farmers have been attacked on their farms. And it's the same thing in Edo. Mm-hmm. But guess what happened? In Ondo, a few weeks ago, the same set of people, not the same human beings that were killed, though, these Nigerians that were killed, no. I'm talking about another group of people from the north were actually stopped. And they were sent back. And they also found firearms on them. And they claimed to be hunters.
So send back.
They sent them out of the state. They didn't kill them. And they were stopped by vigilantes too. Mm-hmm. So this is where you start to wonder why they had to go that far. Oh, people are saying, look, that they're the ones going through it. That in fact, that someone on the floor of the house had raised an issue about the insecurity in Edo State and how it was spreading. So this is where the security network is failing. If someone could raise it on the floor of the house and there was no action taken, again, in the process of trying to create security, we've had to be creative as a country, and people have created vigilante groups. But now the governor, in banning them, said it's illegal vigilante. He didn't say he has banned all vigilantes because they actually need them. We don't have enough manpower and firepower to protect our people. So there has to be a quick solution to this. But first things first, there also has to be justice, And there's a lot of threats that have been bandied on social media.
Yeah, a lot of threats. And I'm guessing this is the reason the governor of Edo State has now gone to Kano State this morning over this matter, actually.
Yeah, because again, social media is also being used wrongly. Guess what people are doing now? 1 or 2 people have started writing stories of reprisal attacks, and they have nothing like that has happened. And beyond that, again, there are also videos. I've seen another TikTok video of a young Nigerian from the north, on the northern extraction, actually giving the president 48 hours. He says he's giving the president 48 hours, he's giving the governor of Edo 48 hours. That after 48 hours, if you do not, do what they want, that you also have people from that he doesn't care. In fact, this guy went on this video, he went as far as saying that he doesn't even care where you're from, as long as you're not a Muslim and you're from the south, that you're in trouble. That's what he was saying, and he was mentioning some specific states where there's a large chunk of non-Muslims and Southerners dwelling there. So this is what has to be done. If they don't quickly pick up this type of people and check how deep their threats are, they might get sympathizers, and before you know it, reprisal here, reprisal there, wild west all over again.
Exactly.
But again, jungle justice is fully condemned.
Okay, now quickly before we go, we're actually almost out of time, but Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have now introduced a 0.5% on import goods from ECOWAS nations.
There's a playbook that they're using, and basically they're trying to really establish the fact that they're not going back to the ECOWAS. ECOWAS has also tightened the noose around them here and there just to make them feel it. So they feel they're fighting back. Again, with Donald Trump, there's always putting tariffs on everything. Everybody is now using tariffs. But these are majorly landlocked countries, if I'm not mistaken.
I just really hope that they can there's like...
For instance, they had this biting fuel scarcity in Niger Republic, and Nigeria actually had to sell petrol to them. And that helped to halve the cost of pump price of petrol in their country. It had gone rumored to as high as 10,000 or something in Naira, and Nigeria helped them. It came down to 3,000 or 4,000 or something, according to people who claim to have been there. I'm just saying that it needs verification. What I'm also trying to point out is that no man is an island, and if these 3 countries really feel this strongly, what are they really producing or manufacturing? Are they sure they don't need these other African countries, especially the West African bloc?
Exactly. It's interesting, but we'll see where it's going to. Quickly before we go, also our thoughts and our prayers are with people of Myanmar, as the death toll has surpassed 1,700 over the earthquake of over the weekend. It was crazy. There were videos of...
There are a couple of earthquakes that are happening, in that axis, and it's looking like earthquake season.
Yeah, Pakistan has also witnessed 1 earthquake today already.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I saw a video of an hospital where there were tremors and there was an earthquake, and 2 nurses were in the nursery where newborn babies were, and they struggled to keep those babies in place. It was scary, but also commendable that they risked their lives to keep those babies in check. Then I was reading about how was it Singapore or which country had the first one last week? Was it Malaysia or one of those countries?
I think
they're talking about how strict they were.
Thailand.
With the building houses there,
yeah.
that they're so emphatic about the quality of the houses that did you see that there was hardly any building that went down?
Went down in Thailand, yes. It didn't. I think there were just about 3 people that died in Thailand. There was someone on a crane that actually fell off a crane.
Yeah, you know, that building came down. It's the one, the crane that the building came down.
No.
I saw a video of a building, that was under construction that eventually came down.
And all
and there
that.
was a crane on top of it.
It's such a very sad one, but our thoughts and our prayers are with these people.
Talking about thoughts and prayers, of course, yesterday we lost 2 people in Gombe.
Yeah.
And
sad.
Please, when you are in a public place, don't rush. It is alleged that people were in a hurry to leave, and that's what led to this stampede, that they were in a hurry to leave.
What?
Now, again, if you understand how the Eid prayers are done, and even any other Islamic prayer, the men are usually in front,
Yeah.
then the women and children are usually at the back. So imagine a scenario where the bulk of the women and children were actually, because the 2 victims now are children.
Children,
and kudos to the state government. They've picked up the medical bills and they're treating everybody that is involved. But please, when you are in a public place, let us look out for each other. You all went there to pray and praise God and thank God for successful fasting. Shouldn't be in a hurry to leave.
Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the BoomBar. Have a beautiful day ahead.